Imagine, if you will, you're a Plants vs. Zombies fan in 2013. It's already been 2 years since EA bought PopCap. So far, they've decided to play it safe with Plants vs. Zombies 2. While the game is fine and well received, it's painfully short on content and isn't exactly something to write home about. When suddenly you see a teaser for an upcoming Plants vs. Zombies game that's to be revealed at E3 2013. And whilst you have no idea what to make of it, you're eager and excited to see what it entails. Come E3 2013 and PopCap reveals this. And less than a year later, they release Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is the first of 3 class-based third-person shooters in the Plants vs. Zombies franchise. Released over 11 years ago on February 25th, 2014, it was a massive departure from the previous tower defense games in the series. At first only being released on Xbox, but because of its success it eventually made its way on both PC and PlayStation. And it's also my favorite thing ever.
Oh, fuck yeah! This is the shit! Kill me now!
No matter how long it's been since release, this game just always hits the spot. From the characters, to the music, to the presentation, Garden Warfare is one of those things where everything just clicks for me. And despite the existence of both a sequel and a reboot, Garden Warfare 1 is by far the game I revisit the most. And to celebrate its 11th anniversary,
Lights!
I've decided to review my favorite game of all time. Garden Warfare 1 is unique in the sense that it's the first game in the series where you directly play as the game's namesakes. Both teams have 4 classes, each serving multiple purposes. All of them having 3 abilities designed to help with their respective roles, with the plants being designed for defense and the zombies for offense. All the plants in this game are based on the plant scene in the tower defense games, and I don't think we talk enough about how Garden Warfare went about reimagining these guys. The pea shooter is the team all-rounder. For his primary weapon, he wields a gun. I mean pea cannon, which fires large, slow, single-shot peas that can deal damage either via direct hits or by splash damage. As for his abilities, there is the beam bomb. The hyper ability gives him added speed and jump height, giving him easy access to vantage points, and also turning him into the most annoying little shit the game has to offer. And his final ability is pea gatling, which basically turns him into a turret. Next up is the melee class, and in my opinion the most unique class in the game, the Chomper. His primary is a quick biting attack, but because the range is so piss poor you'll mostly be relying on the Chomper's insta-kill mechanic to get kills, which is also what all of his abilities are centered around. If the Chomper gets behind his opponent, he'll be able to swallow them whole, killing them instantly. But after doing so, he'll be unable to do anything but move, as you have to wait for the Chomper to digest his victim, leaving himself open for any nearby zombies. His first ability is Goop. The Chomper spits out a questionable substance that I can only assume to be lean, which renders any zombie hit by it immobile, allowing the Chomper to get an easy kill. Also bonus points if you kill someone with it. His next ability is Spikeweed. The Chomper drools all over the floor like an alcoholic, leaving behind a spikeweed that deals damage and holds up any zombie that steps on it, once again giving the Chomper an easy kill. And for his final ability, the Chomper burrows on the ground, giving him cover and allowing him to instantly kill anyone underneath him. Whilst the Chomper sounds very strong on paper, it doesn't quite translate over to gameplay. The Chomper feels kind of clunky to use. Because he has no ranged weapon, he is very vulnerable when trying to approach an opponent. And whilst burrow does help in approaching, it's incredibly easy to avoid and in some instances even counter. And unfortunately, the bite attack and the swallow button also share the right back trigger. Sometimes you'll swallow someone when all you meant to do was bite them, and sometimes the game will bug out and the Chomper will do nothing. And you're pretty fucked if you're going up against 2 or more zombies. But if you play your cards right and you know what you're doing, you can absolutely still get shit done. The next class is the Sunflower, who functions as the plant healer. But where most hero shooters have healers that are pretty weak and defenseless, the Sunflower can actually throw hands. For her primary, the Sunflower has an automatic rifle that's best at medium range. Her first ability is Heal Beam, or Piss Stream as I like to call it because that's what it looks like. Using the Piss Stream, the Sunflower can hook up to any plant nearby, allowing her to directly and continuously heal them. Her next ability is the Heal Flower. The Sunflower drops a potted flower which dispenses sun that you and your team can use to regain your HP. And for her final ability, she fires a laser.
I'm a firing my laser!
I don't really play a lot of Sunflower because, well, she has fuck all HP, but fuck me if she ain't a kick-ass medic. And finally, the last class on the plant side is the Cactus, who functions as a sniper. Her primary is a semi-automatic sniper rifle that can kill most zombies in just 4 shots. And because of its fire rate, it's deceptively strong at shorter ranges. Her first ability is the Potato Mine, which is exactly what it sounds like.
What the fuck?
Her second ability is Tall Knot Battlements, a wall of walnuts that can provide cover and act as a barrier.
Build that wall! Build that wall! Build that wall! Build that wall!
And her final ability is the Gardic Drone. It has a really strong primary attack, but if that's not enough, it's also capable of deploying really strong airstrikes.
Enemy AC-130 above.
But the drone only has 5 hit points, so positioning and timing is key. I've slept on this character for way too long. The Cactus is really fun. I'll go into depth about these guys later on, but for now I'm moving on to the zombies. Whereas all the plant classes were based on pre-existing characters, bar one, the zombies are all made from scratch, so the developers had a lot more freedom when it came to designing these guys. The first zombie class is the Foot Soldier, the zombie version of the all-rounder and the most basic bitch character you can possibly imagine. His primary is an assault rifle that's good at pretty much every range. His first ability is Rocket Jump, which allows the soldier to easily access vantage points and get away from certain doom. His second ability is Stink Cloud, which can deal damage like a gas grenade but also provide smoke cover. And his last ability is the ZPG, a big fuck off rocket designed entirely to counter Peak Gatling and Sunbeam. Like, this is the reason why I never use Peak Gatling or Sunbeam in multiplayer. Because the second you use them, you got 10 of these things barreling towards you at 100 miles an hour. But anyway, the Foot Soldier is by far the most popular character in the game. Like, it's not uncommon for entire teams to be made up of just foot soldiers. But considering how versatile he is, it's not that strange when you think about it. But anyhow, we're moving on. The next zombie class is the Engineer. Engineer TF2, Engineer TF2? No, you inbred freak. His primary is similar to that of the pea shooter, only stronger, with less range and with a noticeable arc. For his first ability, the Engineer gets his fat ass on the jackhammer, giving him increased mobility for a short period of time. His second ability is a stun grenade in the form of a microphone which can stun opponents and can also be used to force burrowing chompers to the surface. Also, the range on this fucking thing is bullshit. And his final ability is the Zombot Drone.
Enemy AC-130 above!
Yeah, I know I did this joke before, but this thing is the exact same as the Garlic Drone. What the fuck do you want me to say? And as a bonus, you can also build teleporters and turrets in one of the game modes, but we'll talk about those later. And that's all for the Engineer. The next class is the Scientist, the Zombie Healer, who naturally comes armed with a shotgun. A shotgun you call Sir, by the way, because this thing does not fuck about. His first ability is Warp, a teleport that can close the distance or allows the Scientist to make a quick escape. His second ability is the Sticky Ball Grenade, which is pretty self-explanatory. You stick it on the wall, a plant walks by, it explodes. And his final ability is the Heal Station, a lean dispenser that can heal you and your teammates. And last but not least, the All-Star. With 200 HP and a primary I call TPD, Total Plant Death, this guy is the game's tank. And he's also the cheapest character I've seen in any game ever. For his abilities we have Dummy Shield, which gives the All-Star improvised albeit destructible cover, Sprint Tackle, which I will let speak for itself, and finally, the Impant. Do you hate fighting plants the respectable way? Just throw this Afghani child their way and watch them fuck right off.
Oh yeah!
This character is so fucking stupid.
القول قول الصوارم كي تسترد المظالم حتى الأراضي ساموا رسول أهل العزائم.
And those are all the classes.
Martin,
Yeah?
you forgot about the boss mode.
Oh, I didn't forget about it. I just intentionally ignored it. So boss mode was this thing on the current gen and PC version of the game, and
Oh! Oh my god! Oh! Oh my fucking god! No, get the camera! Money! Money!
this shit is so ass.
The whole idea of boss mode is that you can support your team via these drops that can do all sorts of things. But this is so incredibly boring, I've never played a full match of it. 9 out of the 10 lobbies I'm in don't even have somebody playing boss mode, and on the rare occasion that you do have somebody playing it, it's barely noticeable. And honestly, it just feels kind of shoehorned in. But with that out of the way, Garden Warfare's classes are unique, distinct, and most importantly, fun. It's pretty impressive how well Plants vs Zombies translated over into a shooter. Every character from the original is reimagined and redesigned to better fit Garden Warfare, but they still remain pretty faithful to their original incarnation. Pea Shooter, being one of the most basic of basic plants in the original, made perfect sense to be an all-rounder. The Football Zombie was a perfect pick for a tank considering his role in the first game, the Champer's insta-kill mechanic was adopted pretty faithfully, and changing the Sunflower's Sun from a currency to a source of healing is just perfect. And even when the game makes stuff up, it still feels incredibly appropriate for the source material. Imps are always getting tossed around, so using them as grenades isn't that far-fetched of an idea. The Chomper using his mouth to burrow feels pretty natural considering how much this guy eats already. And reimagining the Cactus as a sniper whilst kind of out of the blue makes her far more distinctive than she was in the original game. And I really like how all the characters are used as abilities. It's so simple, yet it works so well. And these characters are designed in such a way that makes them stand out from other characters in the genre. The Scientist isn't just the zombie healer but also a glass cannon, because for as strong as that primary is, because of his low HP he can die just as easily as he can kill. So instead of hiding behind stronger teammates like other healers, playing Scientist comes down to knowing when to get in and when to get out. Even the more basic classes have at least something going for them. The Pea Shooter's primary, instead of being a boring assault rifle, has a primary reminiscent of RPGs from classic FPSs. Their designs, their primaries, their abilities, they give the characters a distinct playing experience that's hard to find anywhere else.
And if that was the game, it would have been fine, if not a little bit repetitive. But I'm not done yet. If you've never heard of this game before and noticed some of the characters changing in appearance, that's because aside from the 8 classes, each class has at least 7 different variants to choose from.
You've been a cowboy.
Variants are versions of the base class with major and minor changes that alter the way you play that character.
The most noticeable and consistent change is the primary, which can differ significantly from the original class.
Here's just some examples.
The Law Piece switches out the Pea Cannon splash damage and slow fire rate for a precise and quick revolver style primary that can drop zombies in seconds if you're accurate enough. Certain chopper variants get a breath attack which increases the range and also makes them significantly less clunky to use. The Tank Commander switches from an assault rifle to a rocket launcher which can do a shit ton of damage, and the Bandit Cactus ditches the semi-automatic sniper rifle for an SMG.
Other variants also have elemental effects. The Fire and Toxic effect deal damage over time, Ice slows your opponent and eventually freezes them, and Electricity can damage multiple opponents via Chain Lightning.
The variant system is great. Not only does it increase the general variety of the game, but it also makes classes you'd otherwise never play a lot more accessible. And if that wasn't enough for you, every ability in the game has a variant, meaning there's even more options for customization. Feel like the heal station isn't enough to help you and your team? Use the Heal Bomb. Want a stronger, more personal shield for the Cactus? Give the Iron Maiden a try. Do you think the Zomba drone dies too quickly? Use the rocket drone. Okay, that's the last one, I swear. And all of this and more can be unlocked via EA's biggest source of income, FIFA pack openings. But instead of packing Messi, you're packing the fucking Power Flower. These packs can be bought with currency you get from doing pretty much anything. So as long as you're somewhat competent, it won't take you too long to unlock everything. Variety is the spice of life in Garden Warfare, and whilst Garden Warfare 2 has even more classes, abilities and variants, Garden Warfare 1's gameplay just feels a lot tighter with characters actually designed to complement each other. Garden Warfare 2 and BFN have a bad habit of over-engineering their characters. Between double jumps, transformations and dual primaries, I sometimes feel like they were more preoccupied with whether or not they could than whether or not they should. Garden Warfare 1 is a lot more simplistic and I think it's all the better for it. And I feel the exact same way about the maps. This game has the best map design of all the 3 shooters. There, I said it. Also, Driftwood Shores is the best map in the whole series, just saying. I'm not saying these games don't have good maps, because they definitely do. It's just that I feel like Garden Warfare's maps are just better overall. Although I can't pinpoint exactly why it is I think that way, there are a couple things that I can point to. Garden Warfare 2 and BFN's maps tended to lean very heavily on their gimmicks and aesthetics, and in my opinion they got boring very quickly. Garden Warfare by comparison was a lot more tame when it came to the maps. Garden Warfare's maps took place in suburbs, port towns and other pretty normal places. Their appeal came more from their layouts rather than any aesthetics or gimmicks. They have a lot of verticality, they're paced relatively nicely, and they just feel a lot more open-ended. Garden Warfare also only had 8 classes to account for instead of 14 or 23, so that probably has something to do with it. The game has 2 types of maps, arena maps and gardens and graveyard maps. Arena maps are used for all the game modes except for one. They're small and compact and are made for much smaller scale game modes. Gardens and graveyard maps are made for, well, gardens and graveyards. They're large point-based maps segmented into 5 or more pieces, and the game modes you play on them are pretty good as well. The first game mode is a PvE mode called Garden Ops, where up to 4 players have to defend the garden from increasingly difficult waves of zombies, and after 10 waves make a run for it and try to evacuate. Every 5th and 10th wave is a boss wave, with the bosses you fight being based on the outcome of a slot machine. 3 of the bosses are returning faces, those being Disco Zombie, Yeti and Gargantua. Oh fuck, wrong game. And the Gargantua. And 2 of the bosses are Garden Warfare originals, those being Giga Gargantua and Baron von Bats. Besides the boss waves, there are also special waves. These occur randomly and range from a special objective you have to complete to a special themed wave of zombies. Come again?
The Goon Squad!
Whilst Garden Ops is a fun game mode, at the end of the day multiplayer will always be the main sauce. As for PvP modes, there is Team Vanquish, where the first team to get 50 kills wins, Vanquish Confirmed, which is pretty much the same except you have to collect the orbs that people drop after they die, Suburbanation, which is basically just domination from Call of Duty, Gnome Bomb, where you have to blow up and defend objectives with an S&D style bomb, Taco Bandits, which is capture the flag with one team always defending and the other always attacking, and lastly Gardens and Graveyards, where the zombies have to capture a series of objectives culminating in a final objective that's different every map. On Walnut Hills the zombies have to get 5 zombies into a mansion, on Main Street the zombies have to plant 4 bombs to prevent the tactical cuke from launching, on Cactus Canyon the zombies have to escort a bomb to the end of a course TF2 payload style, and on Driftwood Shores the zombies have to destroy a giant sunflower by shooting its weak spot that's inside of a lighthouse. Whilst all of these game modes are pretty fun, unfortunately the only ones that are still playable are Garden Ops, Team Vanquish and Gardens and Graveyards. And even then you have to play at very specific times to get decent lobbies. Yeah, despite how many new players this game still gets, it's pretty close to being dead. So far I've been nothing but positive, but this is the part of the video where I talk about the things that I don't like. The things I don't fuck with, or would make love to, as you could say. And trust me, I've tried.
Oh yes.
For one, the progression isn't the best. Whilst I said that you can unlock everything relatively quickly, what the packs give you is entirely random. There are some packs that give you exclusively plant or zombie items or guarantee a character, but for the rest it's entirely up to RNG. Thankfully these packs aren't too expensive, at least compared to the next game. But the only game mode that gives you a reasonable amount of money is Gardens and Graveyards. So if you wanna grind but don't like that game mode,
You can go fuck yourself.
also, and I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying this game has the worst leveling system in any game ever. In this game, leveling up is done by completing a series of challenges. And after completing 15, you gain 1 level. Problem is, these challenges are complete ass. They very often lack any initiative for the player and completing them is entirely based on what your opponent is doing. The X factor is sometimes entirely out of your control, so completing them is stupid hard. Vanquishing 10 engineers might seem easy, but like, what if nobody's playing engineer? And it's weird because some of these challenges are stupid easy. Like press this button 10 times when we say you can, like real fucking difficult, guys. The challenges are overly specific, encourage bad playstyles, and frankly, they're boring as fuck. Thankfully, you can unlock skip challenge stars from the packs, but it doesn't change the fact that the challenges suck. And the skip challenge stars kinda feel like they're an afterthought, which also describes the leveling system as a whole. Also, the balancing is kinda meh. Most characters are fine, but some are just woefully underpowered compared to the rest. And other characters are just stupid busted. Some of the abilities in this game are also just really cheesy, and although I don't find them too annoying, if they catch me on a bad day, my desk is gonna have to call the domestic abuse line. And my final problem is respawning. Every once in a while you come across someone that's a little bit too afraid of dying in a shooter game.
Flinkish!
and instead of facing death like a man, chooses to respawn, meaning you don't get the credit for killing them. Minor thing, but still very annoying. But besides these handful of things, overall the game is great. The characters are fun, the maps are solid, and the game just functions well. Whilst there are glitches of course, some significantly more problematic than others, they're honestly not that big of a deal. The game strikes a good balance between depth and accessibility. There's some wacky stuff you can do, but it's not required to do well. It's enjoyable for both young and old, and new and experienced players. And the game is also just very casual. Whilst there are some absolutely sweaty bastards, most players are pretty chill. It's a game you can play for months on end or just pick up and play every once in a while. And at the end of the day, the game's just fun. For an 11-year-old game that released on Xbox 360 and PS3, this game still looks great. And it's mainly because of the game's art direction. Based on concept art, they initially experimented with other art styles, but thankfully they went in a more classic direction. The game is appropriately bright and colorful, and the lighting on the nighttime maps, which by the way were a great callback to the day and night sections of the original game, just pop. The game just looks like PvZ1, but in 3D. As for the sound, whilst not on the level of PvZ1 and 2, Garden Warfare still has a great soundtrack. There's a good mix of fast-paced action tracks, really chill lobby music, and also tons of oddballs. And they do wonders for the gameplay. Here's just some of my favorites. As for the rest of the sound design, all the weapons pack a nice punch. The voice acting fits the characters. And everything has a nice slight cartoony and comedic edge to it. Also, the kill sound this game has is just...
I'm gonna come.
And the final reason why I like this game so much is because this game just has a sense of personality. The game has tons of details, both big and small, that really give me the impression that the developers had fun while they were making this. Just the care and the attention to detail to stuff barely relevant to gameplay is just the cherry on top. Stuff like the bandit cactus whistling when she reloads. Or the Bejeweled inspired rank plates. Or just the way characters freezing being identical to the first game. The game is just filled with good references and fun details like these. The UI this game has resembles that of the first game. It resembles the materials used for pots and gravestones, and it also helps tying the two games together. The customization in this game also goes incredibly hard. The hats, the camos, the glasses.
I'll be back.
And it actually fits the characters, it's not just a bunch of junk reskinned 4 times. Another thing to mention are the boss intros. Every boss in this game has a specially animated intro for the super waves, and they're great. Whilst they help with hyping up the bosses, they give you insight on how the bosses function and even give them a little bit of personality. Baron von Bats for example. He teleports in, shows the player his ranged attack, spawns in his minions like he does in the actual boss, becomes annoyed and jealous when they block the camera, clocks one in the head with his staff, and teleports away like he does in the boss. Both Suburban Nation and Gnome Bomb have special songs where you can hear plants and zombies singing for their respective versions, and when playing Garden Ops on the map Sharkbite Shores and Port Scallywag, the basic brown coats are replaced with pirate versions. And this level of caring extends out of the game itself and into the game's marketing. Like, they made an entire western style track for a trailer that they never used in the game itself, and it's one of the best songs in the series. I mean, just listen to this. reveal trailer I showed at the beginning of the video isn't actually the whole thing. The trailer is a spoof on the Battlefield 3 trailer and it builds the expectation that this game is gonna be dark and serious, but once the title of the game is revealed, absolute chaos. And the trailers perfectly capture the game's chaotic and over-the-top nature. The game is also very aware how stupid it is. With the tagline of this game being "Shooters just got weird," they knew it looked like they were smoking crack. And in my opinion, that makes the game even more charming. I mean, they got fucking Snoop Dogg to advertise this game. What more could you possibly want? The developers really cared, and it's apparent in every corner of the game. I might be reading way too deep into this, but stuff like this really finishes the game for me. From result screens to the descriptions in the sticker book. They didn't need to add any of this. They didn't need to put this much effort into every crack and crevice. But they still did. Why? Because it's fun. And because of its sense of humor, attention to detail and self-awareness, this game has a sense of personality no other game besides the original can claim. In conclusion, Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare is a fun and unique experience that wonderfully adapted its source material in both visuals and gameplay. It's filled to the brim with charm and personality, and it was made by a group of passionate developers who knew exactly what they were making. A fun, casual shooter that could be enjoyed by just about anyone. Or in other words that better represent my excitement, Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare is the GOAT. Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare is the most influential game in the Plants vs Zombies series, second only to the original. It showed people PopCap was capable of more than just glorified mobile games and paved the way for the peak of the franchise. From this game on, the series could only go up. And to this day, this game, with its gameplay, with its personality, with its willingness to do something different, remains the best representation of not just Plants vs Zombies, but PopCap as a whole. I fucking love this game, and nothing you could say could ever make me hate it. I like this game so much that when I got the PlayStation 4, I was seriously considering not even bothering with Garden Warfare 2 and just buying Garden Warfare 1 again. Whilst I fear it won't be long before its servers are shut down or it's completely deserted, for as long as this game is still around, I'm gonna enjoy every second of it. And that is why Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare is my favorite game of all time.
To be or not to be?